Gratitude isn't just spiritual discipline, it's nervous system intelligence. And when you combine timeless truth with modern technology, you don't just feel better, you function better. And I'm really excited about this week's episode. Welcome to the Live Younger Longer podcast. I wanted to really get into this because last week I really dug into purpose and what it meant to have purpose, and what I really believe that is a true detriment to today's society and today's generation is a lack of purpose. But going off of that, I wanted to go into something a little deeper as it goes into gratitude. When we think about gratitude, scripture is incredibly clear about something that we often overlook. Forgetting is dangerous. Psalm 103 tells us, forget not all of his benefits, because it's not because God needs praise, but it's because we all fall apart when we forget. Over and over again, God tells his people, remember, remember what you've been through. Remember who brought you through it. Remember, so fear doesn't rewrite the story. And remember, so gratitude can stabilize your heart. If you think about it, Philippians even tells us that thanksgiving is what allows the peace of God to guard our hearts and minds. That word guard, it matters because peace isn't passive, guys. It's protective. Proverbs remind us that a cheerful heart is good medicine, right? While a crushed spirit dries up bones. That's not just poetic language, it's psychological truth. And reflection keeps us honest. Remembrance keeps us anchored, and gratitude keeps us regulated. We weren't designed to live in a constant state of urgency and outrage and stress, for that matter. But when we forget what God has already done, our nervous system, it stays in survival mode. A life lived in survival mode, it slowly wears the body down. Gratitude brings us back into alignment. It tells the mind and body, you're safe, you're provided for, you're not starting over from zero. And when we live a life of remembrance instead of panic, you don't just think better, you breathe better, you sleep better, you recover better. Heck, you age better. So if you want a healthier mind, a stronger body, a longer, more resilient life, don't overlook what scripture's been saying all along. Remember well, give thanks often, right? Let the peace stand guard over your life, and really think about a life that remembers God's faithfulness. It isn't a life that doesn't burn itself out. And you're not trying to survive the future. And that's what we're going to get into today, because as we talk about, living younger, longer, that's really what this podcast is all about, right? We're getting the most life out of every year of your life, right? Really living life to the fullest. And again, I think it starts with purpose. And that's why I dug into that last week, of really getting into what is a life of purpose, excuse me, and getting into really why I think in today's society we're seeing such a lack of purpose. And that's the problem. It's borrowed purpose, it's borrowed outrage, it's borrowed value, right? People are looking and looking and looking for something, and they're just globbing on because they don't have true purpose in their life. I don't have time to think about some of that stuff because I know my purpose is to help people achieve things they didn't think were possible. That's what drives me every day. I want to help people make more money than they ever thought were possible and look better than they ever thought were possible, right? Do physical attributes, live younger, longer, live a more fulfilled life, right? Have a life they might not even thought was on the table or thought was possible. That's what drives me. And we're going to get into that today, because I really think that if you think about how, honestly, gratitude, as it gets into going into this biohacking state that we're in, it really gets to a point of nervous system regulation and longevity, right? So this is where I really want to get into it, because gratitude regulates the nervous system. Most people never think about how true gratitude can literally regulate your nervous system. And so a couple things I've been thinking about this week as I was getting ready for this is gratitude shifts the body from sympathetic, right? Like that fight or flight state that we get in all the time, where we're just all amped up, it's stressed out and tense all the time, into a psychosympathetic, right? Like a rest and repair state. So gratitude literally can shift your body, literally shift it from a flight or flight mode to a rest and repair mode. I want you to think about how chronic stress can keep those cortisol levels, that stress hormone, elevated all the time. And so, if you ever think about people that, or you probably know people that you feel like you're walking on eggshells every time you're around them, right? Because they're always in this elevated state of stress. They're just balled up. They're full of tension. They don't know what to do. We're seeing it every night on the news nowadays, right? Like you can't have a rational conversation with people because they're in this amped up state all the time. They're not grateful for anything. They're complaining about everything, right? Like I joke all the time, and it's not really a joke that if you were born here in America, you won the lottery. I've been to countries where I like literally when I was in Belarus, I wanted to take a picture of the Capitol building and I had armed guards come at me, tell me that it is a absolute you are not taking a picture of our government building. What are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are you wanting to take pictures of this building? Right? Like we think and for all the problems that there are here in America, and I know there's a lot of things that need to be fixed. I don't see people dying, literally dying, trying to get anywhere else in the world. Everyone's trying to get here. And if you don't understand that, go find any legal immigrant that has come over the correct way. If you want to know one of the biggest problems of illegal immigration, they're taking the place of people trying to do it right, that have a legitimate reason for coming over here, right? They're taking it away. And so why is everybody rushing to get here? You don't ever see anybody trying to rush to get into Cuba or rush to get into Venezuela or rush to get into North Korea or trying to rush to get into China. And one reason you can't, right? Like you talk about borders. When I go to East Africa every year, I have to get a visa. I have to get fingerprinted. I have to tell them exactly where I'm going, like where I'm staying, why I'm going to be there, the longevity of it. Like they know. And this is a third world, like, I mean, we go where people are living in a landfill, but yet they know exactly who I am, exactly how long I'm going to be there, exactly where I'm going. This isn't weird anywhere else in the world, except for some people only here in this great nation right here. I don't get it. But it's because most of you have never been out. You're not grateful for the opportunities that we have here. And so, literally, gratitude can shift you into a state of relaxation. Gratitude elevates the vagus nerve in our body. It literally can elevate it to get us into a different state of mind. We all know how chronic stress is one of the biggest problems as we live and how we age. Stress is that silent killer. You hear it over and over and over. Why? Because most people don't understand how you can live a life of gratitude to help you not be in that state all of the time, right? This leads us I mean, just let's look at health. And this is why I want to get into it because this is a health podcast. Like, I really want to get into helping people live a great, healthy, long life. It can literally lower your heart rate, it can improve digestion, you can sleep better, and you can have faster recovery. If you're not sleeping, your body's not recovering. Right. One of my trainer friends told me a long time ago that literally what an oven is to cookie dough is what sleep is to the body. That's when it repairs itself. That's when all the change happens. That's when we get refreshed and recovered and restored. How many of you guys aren't sleeping? Now I post links all the time in the description for different product recommendations. We have stuff for sleep that you don't feel like you got knocked out by a truck, but you actually sleep good. You have long, good quality sleep and you wake up feeling refreshed. You're not drugged out of your mind feeling like you got hit by a truck. If you're not sleeping, it affects your longevity, right? So gratitude is one of the fastest ways to tell your nervous system you're safe, right? If you see all these people amped up on the news, do you think their nervous system is in a state of like, hey, I'm safe, I'm good? People are so amped up in this world. You see them all over social media that have literally no possibility of being arrested, being killed, being in it. You hear it all. I hear so many middle-aged white women on social media right now literally talking about how they're going to be killed. What is that doing to their body and how they're living their life, not only now, but what is going to be the compound effect of living in that state? And it's a completely made up state in their head. They're in a constant fight or flight mode. They're not able to relax. They don't feel like they're safe. And it's all starts right here, all right here. So I want you to think about how gratitude can be a natural biohack, right? So it increases dopamine and serotonin levels. It reduces cortisol and inflammation. How many of you guys are battling with chronic inflammation? Part of that, gratitude can literally help with your chronic inflammation. It improves your heart rate variability and enhances mitochondrial efficiency over time. Your mitochondria is that those little power plants in our cells, right? That keep things functioning, and it can literally enhance the efficiency. You know what that does to your longevity? It helps you live younger, longer. Right? That's what it's literally doing. And so I want you to think about how stress. We all know this, and I hit on it a minute ago, but how it can age the body, and gratitude can literally slow that down, right? Chronic stress shortens your telomeres. And we hear about telometer length and how we can do things to help increase it, and some of these different ways to again biohack the body to increase it. Literally, chronic stress is shortening those telomeres in your body. Poor emotional regulation actually accelerates aging. Right? People don't understand being in this constant state of just amped upness and stress and anxiety and just tension all the time, what it's doing to their body, right? It's literally accelerating the way you age. And we see it. You can see it on people's face. You can see it in their skin. People that have lived this amped up, stress filled life their whole life, they look older than they are. You can literally see it on their face. If you see people that live a life of gratitude, of ease, of comfort, of safety, and I think a lot of that has to do with your faith, right? There's been study after study after study after study that talks about people that live a life of faith, how they age better because they have that security, they have that faith, they feel safe. I have a heavenly Father looking out for me that I can go to, and I can unload all this on, and I can have that constant helper, right? That's right there next to me. It's like that old poem about the footprints in the sand, right? When there's only one set of footprints, that's when I was carrying you. I don't have to live this life and have these burdens all the time on myself, right? Gratitude actually reduces oxidative stresses in the body. Now, I've talked about this beautiful little device right here several times that's now available. Like, you can have this. And if you need one, you can have one of these at your house. It literally measures your nutritional health. One of the things it's doing is measuring your antioxidant levels in your body. Now, what is the one killer of our body? It starts with free radical damage and oxidative stress to the body. You know, one thing I remember the first year I did, I had a huge event that I was a bottom line over. There was a couple thousand people that were coming. I mean, hell, the budgets were in the six figures. It was the first year I ever had a bottom line this event. Like, I was the bottom line for it. Like, it kind of rested on me whether this was going to be a success or a failure. I had a lot of good team that was helping me, but at the end of the day, I took that on. And for the first year, I remember most of the time when I scan this, and I share my scans all the time on social media, I'm in the blue and the purple zones, which is, 700, 800. After that first event, and I guarantee it was mainly due to stress leading to the event, I was half of what I normally was. I was like in the 350s. And normally I'm 700 to 800. Stress, oxidative stresses and free radical damage and that was going on in my body. Right. I wasn't living a life of gratitude. Man, what a great opportunity I have to bottom line this. I was freaking the hell out. Right. Because there was, like I said, several $100,000 on the line. And there were several thousand people that were coming to this event wanting to be fed. And I held that, and it literally cut my score in half. When you really think about scripture really ties this in. If you think about Proverbs 17:22, a cheerful heart is medicine. I talked about that in my opening statement. I joke at my wife all the time when she's stressing out or she's tense about something. I try to do something dumb and make her laugh. Why? Because laughter is medicine. Gratitude is medicine. A cheerful heart is good medicine. It literally is that. The Bible just doesn't say gratitude feels good, it heals. Living a life of gratitude heals. How many times do we step back and just wake up in the morning and say, man, I can see, I can walk. I'm so grateful that my body's functioning like it should. I had the opportunity to spend a couple of hours with Chad Hymas not too long ago, who's basically a quadriplegic. He had a horrible farming accident that broke a bunch of stuff in his spine. where he lives a life like that. But he lives a life of such gratitude and he's making a difference all over the world. How many people have that same kind of adversity that happens and they go into a hole? Right. And it all starts with a spirit of gratitude of what are you really doing? Gratitude, again, it improves sleep. This is one of the biggest longevity levers is your sleep. Most people, man, how many people do you know? Maybe it's you that every night you're like, I can't sleep. I wake up feeling like crap every day. And then you boost your body full of stimulants all day, every day. And you try to sleep again and your mind's racing night and nothing. You're in this constant state of stress and you can't sleep. But it's one of the biggest levers of your longevity. Gratitude lowers your nighttime cortisol. How many times do you just lay in bed as you're about to go to sleep and just think about or say some things you're grateful for? I tell my wife all the time how grateful I am to have her. Right. I think about these things like, she battles with some of this stuff with her stress and her neck is tight all the time. And I'm like, hey, do you want me to rub your neck? You want me to rub your neck? Like we talk about this every night. She's like, oh, you don't have to. I'm like, no, I get to. I'm so grateful I have a wife that I get to rub her neck. Right. Like how many times, let's think about something practical. How many times are you watching a movie or you're watching a game and your spouse all of a sudden turns on the vacuum and starts vacuuming and you can't hear the TV like you want to? How many times you're like, oh my God, turn on the freaking vacuum? Or how many of you think, I'm so grateful I have a wife that's willing to vacuum for me, right? I'm so grateful my husband's willing to do X, Y, and Z instead of getting stressed and pissed off about it. It's all a mental shift. So going back to sleep, it improves it also improves sleep onset and depth, the depth and how deep you're sleeping and really getting into it. Better sleep equals better hormone imbalance, better immune function, and better brain health. That's how important sleep is, right? Immune function, hormone balance, and brain health. Sleep is huge. And if you live in a state of gratitude all the time, I guarantee your sleep will be better. And again, we have some phenomenal products that can help with that, but not get you in these altered states so you can sleep, but a natural state so you can really sleep well, right? Get that really good. You can't out supplement bad sleep, but gratitude can help fix it, guys. Gratitude can help fix it. Gratitude also builds emotional resilience. I want you to think about this. Resilient people recover faster from stress. Recovery speed matters more than stress avoidance. Most of the time we just try to just push it under the rug, right? We're like, oh, I'll deal with that later, deal with that later. Right. And so it helps us with that stress avoidance. We don't have to. But gratitude also trains the nervous system to rebound. Gratitude can literally help train your nervous system to rebound, to reset. Right. Longevity isn't about never getting stressed out. It's about how fast you come back from it. That's what it's really all about. That's what longevity is all about. It's not about never getting stressed. You're going to have stress in your life. There's going to be things that happen. It's not about never getting stressed, but how fast you bounce back from that, how fast you rebound, how fast you recover from it. Right. So let's think about some practical biohacking, just simple practices that you can do. Right. Maybe take a couple minutes a day, just a couple of minutes a day to say, okay, what are three things I'm grateful for? What are three things you're grateful for? Are you ever grateful that you have a job? Right? There's a lot of people bitching and moaning about not having a job. Are you grateful that you have a job? It might not be your perfect job. You might not love everything about it, but are you grateful for it? Or do you gripe about it all the time? Gripe about your boss, gripe about this, gripe about that. Right? I want you to think about that. Now, while you're doing it, slow nasal breathing. Right? In and out your nose, slow nasal breathing as you're thinking about gratitude. It literally resets and it amplifies your vagal tone when you do this. You can literally alter your state by slowly breathing in and out of your nose and reciting a few things you're grateful for. So those are a couple quick things you can do in 2 minutes a day. 2 minutes a day. Now let's think about weekly, right? Maybe reflect on one challenge you're grateful for. Do you look at challenges as opportunities or problems? Right. We've been trained over the years with some of the coaching that I've been doing that when adversity comes up, it's the first thing. And I have a group of friends that I always talk about because I get stuck in this sometimes where I'm like, oh my gosh, this just happened. And, I look at it as such a problem. They're like, what an opportunity. What an opportunity, right? And they completely help me reset. We all need those people around us that help us reset, that literally can change the way we're looking at it, right? Maybe this, and when you do this, it literally rewires your threat perception. Isn't that cool? Like scripture says in 1 Thessalonians 5:18, give thanks in all circumstances. And that's having the attitude that life's happening for us and not to us. Give thanks in all circumstances. When my mother unexpectedly passed away a few months ago, it was hard. I miss her every day. I wish I could see her. But yet I'm so thankful for the life that I had with her. I'm so thankful for those 80 years. Well, I just turned 50. So for those 50 years that I had with her, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so thankful for it. So gratitude isn't just about good theology. It's also good biology, right? And when scripture and science can agree, right, it's worth paying attention to. So I wanted to go through a couple things really quickly. And the goal is how a gratitude-based nervous system this kind of a regulation protocol here, right? Because I want the goal in this is kind of like peace, performance, longevity, right? That's what I've been thinking about over this last week. So shifting the body out of chronic sympathetic stress to increase parasympathetic dominance, right? Getting out of flight and flight, out of fight and flight, and back into rest and rebound and relaxation. Again, it can improve your heart rate variability, recovery, all your cognitive abilities, and also longevity. And it can anchor the nervous system into safe mode and not survival mode. So many people are living their life in survival mode. So why this gratitude works? Because your nervous system doesn't respond to logic. You can't out logic your nervous system. Excuse me. It responds to perceived safety. That's what our nervous system is about, right? It responds to perceived safety. Right? Like there's a lot of things that I don't worry about or stress out about, even on a physical side or a physical threat, because I've done things in my life to prepare myself to where I feel safe a lot of times because I'm prepared. So my nervous system stays in more of a state of safety versus seeing a threat at every other corner and just being in this um state of amped upness all the time, right? Gratitude is powerful because it sends one biological system. I'm safe, I'm provided for, I'm not under threat, right? That's what gratitude can do. Again, it can lower all your stress hormones, all your cortisol levels. Again, it activates that vagus nerve and improves the mitochondrial efficiency. It enhances recovery and sleep. And it's a good it slows your biological aging. It literally slows. This is what I want to pound into you guys today. It can slow your biological your biological aging. Again, just by being in a state of gratitude. Isn't that crazy? Again, Philippians 4:6 talks about this. With thanksgiving, the peace of God will guard your hearts and your minds. With thanksgiving, with gratefulness, right? Let's translate this translate this plainly, guys. Peace isn't passive; it's regulatory, right? How cool is that? That we have the power to control this. So, step number one, all right? Again, I want you to think about when I talk about slow nasal breaths, right? 4 to 5 seconds inhale and like 6 to 8 seconds of outhale, right? Super slow. Right, really slow. Sit upright or lie down. Right, why this matters. Longer exhale activates it. Literally, that long exhale literally activates the parasympathetic tone, and it immediately lowers your heart rate and your blood pressure. Monks have done studies on this, and it's insane how low they can get their heart rate by their slow breathing and meditation. I mean, they've broken everything that scientists thought was impossible to get to. They've done it just by having a heart head a head heart connection, and then the slow breathing, getting themselves in this state. Right? You can think your way out of stress, or you can't think your way out of stress. I'm sorry, you can't think your way out of stress, but you can breathe your way into safety. Isn't that amazing how God has built our bodies? I want you to think about that. So, okay, that's step number one. Step number two, What do you do? You can recall 3 specific moments that you're grateful for, not generic, like specific experiences that you are grateful for. You know, coming back, I really think about now how grateful I was to be put in that opportunity to bottom line that event. Was it stressful in the day? Yeah. Was it an incredible learning experience? Absolutely. I'm grateful for some of the businesses that I started and failed. I'm grateful for that. That was such great education of what not to do, right? I'm so grateful that I found my wife. We started dating at 15, got married at 20. We're about to celebrate 30 years, man. I'm so grateful for her. But I think about specific experiences I'm grateful for. Some are really hard experiences, but I'm so grateful for them now. So again, if you think about how you can revive them briefly, right? Really think about what you saw, what you felt, and who was involved. And this works because memory-based gratitude is stronger than verbal gratitude. So really thinking about where you've been at. It activates, again, your dopamine and serotonin levels, and it rewrites a threat perception in your brain. So even hard experiences, if you can understand the goodness that came out of it, it can rewrite the perception in your brain that it's not a threat. Again, if you think about how Psalms 103:2 says, "Forget not all of his benefits," right? Specific remembrance produces specific regulation. So again, let's talk about step 3, getting into future safety and priming. So what do? Say either silently or out loud, if I've been carried before, I'll be carried again. I think about again that poem that talks about the footprints in the sand. And I think about that a lot. If you watch the Chosen series, one of the things that got me so emotional was a time, and I believe it was one of the Johns, I think. I'll have to go back and watch it. But there's this scene where he was pretty stressed out about a couple things. And one of the things he did was he literally just rested his head on Jesus's shoulder. They were sitting there and he just rested his head on Jesus's shoulder. And I thought about like one day when I'm in heaven that I'll get to do that, but I can do it now. And I think about sometimes when if I'm in a going through something or I'm in a stressed out environment, I think, man, I can just rest my head on his shoulder, man, or just rest it on his chest. And it goes away, right? So again, it specific remembrance produces specific regulation. So again, saying out loud, you know, I've been carried before, I'll be carried again. Visualize yourself calm and steady in something upcoming. Maybe you're dealing with something that's coming up in the future. See yourself steady. See yourself very calm in the situation because it trains the nervous system to expect safety. So it reduces anticipatory anxiety. Most of you guys are what ifers, right? You're what ifing everything. What if this happens? What if this happens? And so you're anticipating stress. You're anticipating all this stuff happening, and it might not ever happen. Most of the time, it doesn't. But you think about that, right? So it reduces the anticipatory anxiety and it improves stress resilience. Again, Deuteronomy 8:2. I love Deuteronomy 8, but it talks about how remember how the Lord your God led you. Right. And he was talking to the children of Israel and trying to get them because they had forgotten all the things that he has done for them, all the ways he provided for them. My God, he gave them water out of a rock. He had manna from heaven coming down. He split the freaking Red Sea. He split the Jordan River. Like he did some really don't forget, remember how the Lord your God led you. Again, we go back to like jobs or careers or different things and being grateful for it. In that chapter, it talks about how God gives you the ability to create wealth. It's God that gives you the ability. Are you grateful to God for the abilities that he gave you to create wealth? Or are you constantly griping about your job? Right. So let's talk about how kind of getting a step forward, how gratitude and body awareness, right? How they come together. So, you can literally think about this and scan your body from head to toe and acknowledge what feels supported, strong, and relaxed. Like if you sit in this state where you're just lying there in gratitude and you start scanning your body, like, okay, what feels supported, what feels relaxed, what feels strong, right? And why this matters because it restores your body awareness. It improves your emotional regulation and it reduces disassociation and chronic tension. Right? This all stems in gratitude, guys. Again, Proverbs 17:22 says, a cheerful heart is good medicine. A cheerful heart. How many of you guys are walking around with a cheerful heart? Like, honestly. Or are you in a state of just, again, bitchiness all the time? All the time. There's always a problem, always something wrong, always something going on. Right. So let's talk about how this can really kind of go in and directly tie into biohacking tech, right? This is where we can kind of bridge gratitude and, again, this technology right here that you can now have at your home. It auto connects to your app and it can help. What is my nutritional health? What is my lifestyle? It's a phenomenal indicator if you're under hard stress or not. Again, I was my own little clinical. There have been times where I'm going through some really hard times. My score varies, right? So it's really cool because gratitude sets up the nervous system. Technology amplifies the effect, right? Having this, being able to measure myself daily, I know really kind of what's going on in my body. I have it's like a sonar device inside. I know what's happening inside. So again, gratitude lowers your baseline cortisol. I'm going to pound this because chronic high cortisol levels in most people is a major, major problem on how you're aging. And it's affecting so many areas of your life. So many areas. But it makes, again, your body more receptive. Biohacking works better on a regulated nervous system. If you're tracking different things, if you have different devices, maybe you have Aura rings or Fitbits or whatever, gratitude can really literally help regulate that nervous system. It shows you, right? So again, excuse me, you don't stack stress on, right? You stack on the regulation. That's what you really want to go to. So how can we accelerate regulation? You can position, right? Like again, I'm trying to tell you guys in position how this technology right here, this amazing device, it can literally help to enhance parasympathetic activation. Again, it improves recovery speed, improves cellular efficiency, and it reinforces nervous system safety signals. Like, I want to know what's going on inside of me. I want to know how well my body's aging from the inside out. Because I've seen people that on the outside look phenomenal, on the inside, they're a wreck. I want to know what's happening onto me. I know if my score is high, just because, again, these are my own experiences as an athlete, I'm recovering faster. 2 weeks ago, I literally right here, man, I tore my lat. Like, it literally tore away. It didn't completely tear, it was a partial tear, but it's been amazing using some of the biohack technologies I have access to, how quickly I'm recovering. So again, it improves recovery speed. I'm experiencing it right now, right? If I'm feeding my body what it needs, it's going to heal and function like it's supposed to. And I can help accelerate that. Gratitude tells the body I'm safe. Technology helps the body respond faster, right? Because I can measure, I can track. If it's worth doing anything in life, it's worth tracking. And I'm able to do that through it. So again, measurable outcome. That's what I love. If I can measure it, I can know and predict almost some of these outcomes, right? So, how you can tie gratitude in with metrics. Again, some of these, now this device does not do this, but there's devices out there that talk about heart rate variability. If you can track it, you can see it. I guarantee if you're tracking your heart rate variability, if you go into a state of gratitude, that number will change 100%. Right? Again, sleep quality, recovery time, energy consistency. How many guys don't have energy consistency throughout the day? You're constantly just, either spiking or crashing. Right? There's no consistency. And emotional resilience. When mindset and biology aligns, results accelerate. I really want you to think about that, right? When mindset and biology combine, right? That's where results can accelerate. So longevity isn't about avoiding stress. It's about recovery efficiency, right? How do we do that? And gratitude can improve that recovery speed. And again, our tech can now optimize the biological response. Why? Because we're measuring, we're showing metrics. We can show this, right? Again, Psalm 19:12. Teach us to number our days. We should be conscious of this. Teach us to number our days and to live this life of gratitude and remember not what you've already done and what you will do to us in the future. Right? Longevity isn't just about adding years, but it's about protecting the system that carries you through them. Again, I say this all the time. I want to build this community of people that want to get the absolute most life out of every year of their life. Who knows how many years we're going to live here? But I want to get as much out of every one of those years. Right? So again, once a week, maybe spend 10 minutes a week, right? In reflection, in remembrance, right? 10 minutes into gratitude and breathing, right? Use and sometimes you can, like I said, if you get one of these devices, then measure yourself afterwards, right? Get through, like get your baselines and then see how this can help improve your nutritional health, your biological health, right? Because nervous system gets primed, right? Cellular response gets enhanced and then recovery deepens. And so I wanted to end this and really encourage you guys to really get into a life of conscious gratitude, really thinking about the blessings that you have. You know, the poorest here in America, the poorest are still in the top 5% wealthiest in the world. Most people have no idea how most of the world lives. If you go down, I've been several times just in the pueblos of Mexico drilling water wells with our church. We've gotten, I don't know, 1,200, 1,500 water wells that we've dug down there because most people don't even have access to clean water, right? If they do have water, normally it's dirty. Half the time it's once or twice a week. They have to fill up cisterns that get contaminated. Most people don't have access to clean water. The first time I went down to Mexico in the year 2000 and it was on one of these trips, I came back thanking God for that little apartment I was in because I could turn on the faucet and drink clean water because those people didn't have it. They'd have to walk half a mile down the road with a 5-gallon bucket and try to fill up water, try to get clean water. We have it so easy here in America, we lose sight and we're not grateful for it. Most people in America, honestly, are spoiled brats. It's like the rich kid that never had to work for anything in his life. And you go ask some of the people that have come over to this country how they lived, get some perspective, get some gratitude, right? Again, gratitude isn't just spiritual discipline, guys. It's about nervous system intelligence. And when we combine timeless truth with modern technology, right? You don't just feel better, you function better in so many areas of your life. So again, guys, I always have a couple links in the description. I do have some supplements, all natural, fully holistic, that can help in certain areas of your life. We have a phenomenal product called cortisol that can help lower those cortisol levels. We have stuff for sleep. We have stuff that's guaranteed to raise your scanner score. It all works together. But again, living a life of gratitude. And again, I'll tie it back to last week's episode, purpose and gratitude, right? Finding your purpose. God created you for a reason, on purpose, but also living a life of gratitude, being grateful for the things that you have. How many of us walk around with these phones and have access to every answer to anything you could ever want? You ever grateful for that? I remember growing up, I had to search encyclopedias for the answers and stuff, right? We didn't have this instant access to stuff. Again, having food, like we don't have a hunger problem in America. We have an overeating problem in America. There's no lack of food. Not here. I go to places where they're literally in landfills every day searching for anything, and they're lucky if they eat once a day, and it's garbage. Are you ever grateful that you can go, even if you don't have a whole pantry full of food, but you have food? And you're not having to scrape with your little babies in a landfill looking for food? I mean, let's have some perspective, guys, and let's be grateful for all of this amazing country we live in, but also all the blessings you have in this life. You can see, you can hear, you can speak, right? You have people that love you, people around you, the access to anything in this country, the access to any opportunities you want. But again, you got to find your purpose, but you also need to live a life of gratitude. So again, guys, it's been the Live Younger Longer podcast. Appreciate your time. Please like and share it. Give me feedback. We're trying to grow a community, man. I just want to help people live a younger life longer. Right. So that's what it's all about. Take care, guys. God bless. See you next week. Bye bye.